Something that is common amongst insecure attachment is anxiety around separation. And I see this a lot when perhaps your partner goes out or is coming back late or has some plans. It can lead to a complete point of panic and overwhelm. It's often a time a fight can be started, withdrawal can happen on both parts, like sulking can happen, and your internal world can feel like absolute chaos. So if that's something that you relate to, I'm kind of thinking like specifically like at night times, I know it can be really difficult. It can be any time of day, but I'm really particularly thinking of those people that come to me talking about that evening time. Perhaps you then can't sleep. You're really panicking, really worrying about what they're up to, often experiencing intrusive images and intrusive thoughts about what this means about your relationship or what your partner is doing or not doing, really struggling with trust around this time. And sometimes that's really difficult because I see this also with people where you really do trust your partner. And of course, I see this as well, where perhaps it is someone that you're unable to trust or you don't trust, and you've got reason for that. But ultimately, you're really struggling to self-soothe and regulate yourself when there is this separation happening. Of course, if you are in a healthy relationship or this is an experience with someone that is ultimately trustworthy, of course, that's another topic all by itself, then this is going to be easier to put into practice, right? Because we need to be in a safe relationship that we can trust. And there isn't like a shady relationship that is called, the anxiety is there for a reason, if you like. So I'm going to give you some tips around that. And I guess the first is I am normalizing it. I am normalizing the intrusive images and the intrusive thoughts and that state of absolute panic and despair and the acting out when this happens. Separation and fear of separation, it triggers those abandonment wounds. Even if you know you're going to see your partner again tomorrow, or if you know where they are and they are staying in touch, when there's an anxious attachment or insecure attachment, I should say, sometimes that's not enough to stop it. It still can overtake you. It's something I definitely relate to. I can confirm it is something that I am able to navigate. That has been such a huge shift in my own life to be able to find that joy in that separation. And I have worked with people as well who have talked about that absolute despair in the evening, that have got to a place where they can enjoy their evening alone. They can be with friends and be present with friends whilst their partner is out or doing X, Y, and Z, or they know that their partner is going to be going away. So this is something that you can absolutely get more in control of. It's going to happen step by step. It usually isn't that it's just like overnight you suddenly feel okay with it. It's going to be a slow like process, but especially when I'm working with people, we really do spot that progress, because it's important to do that, especially with attachment healing. So why don't I give you, I wasn't 100% sure if it was like going to be tips that I'm giving you. The YouTube videos are always a bit different because it's me just kind of chatting with you. But yeah, I am going to give you some hot tips. Tips can be difficult because when we're in the moment, sometimes it doesn't necessarily soothe us, and putting them into practice can be difficult. That said, the tips that I give, if you do that kind of underlying work as well, you're going to see that healing. So the first thing is really being able to remember that time does pass. Okay, it can be when you're in a state of struggling to self-soothe because of this fear of separation and the abandonment wounds, time can become really distorted. It can often just suddenly pause. It can literally feel like a minute is an hour, for example. It can go the other way as well, but often with this, we see it that it's like time is going so slow. And so they've not texted you back for 5 minutes, which is a normal amount of time, but it can feel like it's an hour. So before you know it, you're already texting them, right? So really like readdressing your relationship with time during these moments, remembering how time is passing, and keeping that awareness there. Because when we've left our body, we're having these out-of-body experiences. When we're activated, we can forget that. So remembering that time passes. See if you can, as a next way, see if you can imagine, and you might want to do this regularly, actually, this can really, really help. And I have a meditation around this, an anxious attachment focused meditation inside my membership, Follow Your Fire. It's an online membership for all things attachment styles, which you're so welcome to join. And at the start of our advanced anxious attachment masterclass, there is a meditation that supports this point, and that is to see if you can imagine yourself coming back together with this person. We often just focus on the goodbye, and when there's insecure attachment, sometimes we think that's going to be forever. And so remembering that greeting again, imagining yourselves coming back together, imagining it tomorrow, so playing into the time, imagining it being tomorrow or whenever it is you're going to see them again, and feeling that and seeing that, and allowing it to be possible that you're going to come back together, and that goodbyes don't have to be the full end. Of course, if you've got experience where a goodbye has been the end, or you didn't see someone again, and that sometimes has happened several times, it might be harder to access that. But like I say, especially if this is someone you have been dating, or you are dating, or you're in a relationship with, then it might be a little bit easier. So if that's possible, then go for that one. I would definitely say, in terms of self-soothing, this sometimes is something we really have to work up to be present with the feeling without it meaning that we have to act on it. You know, sometimes we feel like, I feel this way, and the sensations are so uncomfortable that that's often when we act out. That's often when we're just trying to feel okay again. And knowing, similar to time, knowing that these sensations, these emotions is going to pass, seeing if you can be with that, seeing if you can notice it, and really offer yourself compassion and understanding and love. Sometimes we have a feeling about a feeling, right? Which is that we're so annoyed to be feeling this way. It's not fair to be feeling this way. I need to stop feeling this way. But if we can actually meet this part of you with compassion and understanding, when I'm working with people, so I work through 6 pillars, secure pillars, when I'm working with people one-to-one, and one of them is around this parts work, being able to communicate with the part of you that is really struggling with this separation. So if you can be with it, hear it, you can see how I'm naturally putting a hand here, wherever it is that you feel it, to put a hand there, to be loving for yourself. That can be really, really useful as well. And what we really want, I'm going to give you a 4th and final tip, unless something else comes up for me in this moment. Ideally, what we want is, we want you to be able to come back to the current moment. Yeah, so when this is happening, especially if you're not together with them, it can be when you're there, if they've just told you they're going out, it might suddenly be that you're starting to leave your body and you're not feeling yourself. But if they are out, which, like I say, hold on, is kind of the situation I have in mind, which is that sort of kind of like nighttime, then perhaps it is a case of trying your hardest to ground back into the current moment, not to feel like fully okay. That's not the goal here. Of course it is, but we have to be realistic. Okay, this, like I say, this is a slow process. Things that might bring you back to the current moment are things like, one that really worked for a client of mine, she won't mind me saying, because she put it in her feedback form, is showering. Getting in the shower, feeling the water on you. If it needs to be cold, making it cold. And sometimes you can, I've had it where you literally feel yourself come back to the current moment, and it can just give you that bit more space to think and to feel and to be here. You might just put some water on your face. You might really feel your feet on the ground. You might shake it out, you know, somatic exercises, dancing, anything to bring you back here to the current moment and into your body, because we've often left our body. We're believing the thoughts. There you go, there's another one. Perhaps not to believe all of the thoughts that you're having when you're activated and when you're triggered. And those of you, I guess this is like almost a 6th tip now, those of you where it is nighttime, that you're particularly struggling when your partner's not home yet, or you don't live together but you know that they're around, or whatever it is, the person you're dating is out and about, you don't have to try and sleep. Now that might seem like, but all I want to do is sleep. you're in a state of fight or flight. You're in a state of survival. When our anxious attachment is triggered, we're somewhere in the past. That's a whole other bit of work that we would be doing. Is what something from the past is coming up, and your mind, your body is thinking this is happening now. So you're in this state of survival, protection. When we're in that state, it's hard to sleep because as far as we're concerned, there's a threat. So sometimes going to sleep becomes really quite frustrating because all of the thoughts going around our mind, and then we're thinking, I can't sleep and I just want to be able to sleep. So I've definitely said it with clients where, you don't have to try and sleep. Of course, it's a bonus if you can get to sleep. But I'll tell you something that will be really, really powerful for you one day. And that is the time when you're experiencing this element of separation, or the person you're with is out, and you happily go to sleep. Yeah, because you're able to feel into trusting yourself. You're able to soothe yourself more in the moment. You're able to manage that time that suddenly, like I say, can become really distorted. So I've seen that happen. I see it happen. There will be a time when that can happen for you, and that comes from when we're not giving up on healing attachment wounds. Yeah, that knowing that time is going to come where you don't merge so much with your feelings and your emotions and this part of you that is currently struggling with the separation, but won't forever, because you're here doing this work. Now, like I say, I'm a coach, so you can work with me one-to-one on this. You can join my membership if you're just wanting to go like a little bit deeper, but wanting some support. It's accessible, it's got loads of resources. It's called Follow Your Fire. It's an online membership for all things attachment styles and rediscovering yourself. People just like you, just like me, from around the world. And you'll get more details there about working with me one-to-one. I'll put all of the details in the bio. Any comments, let me know. Do not forget, you're enough, you're lovable, you are so, so worthy, and you're irreplaceable.